have you seen the role of media change? So I can imagine, if you're selling a house 30 years ago, it was a couple of photos, hard copies stuck onto a piece of paper, and you've been at the forefront of media as it's changing. So how has that changed in the business up to now?
Well, I mean, I have to say, like, when I started in 2006, it was really at the beginning of digital photography as we know it. Okay, digital photography probably started a few years before that, maybe even 5 years before that. But it took 4 or 5 years before the quality of digital photography became better than the quality of film photography. So in 2006, we were already at that stage. Professional photographers, they were already using digital cameras to photograph the Olympic Games, for example. So I was lucky in a way that when I started to work, I was already using digital. So digital obviously got many advantages compared to film. I'm not saying it's easier. You still need to know what you're doing with the camera. You still need to understand the same principle. But it's quicker. You get to see the photograph instantly. You get to retake your photographs if you're not happy with. And you can take as many as you want without having to constantly pay for a new film and a new film.
Yeah.
So for that point of view, when I started, we were already using digital. And in the last 15 years, the quality has gone really, really high, So a really, really big jump from 2006 to now in terms of quality that we produce, in terms of the amount of editing that we do with the photographs, the quality that is expected from clients.
I was going to say the standard is
that's
so
also
much higher,
so much higher, and clients, they all have an eye now for photography, and they fancy photographers themselves. So they look at your work in a different eye, and it's you really, really need to be on top of your game. When before you kind of get away with a lot more. Now the expectation is very much higher than before, and also the turnaround time is.
People nowadays are information rich and time poor. So I can Google open heart surgery if I want. So if I decided to Google what camera work involves, I could review cameras before you arrive. And before you arrive, I think I know what I'm doing. Whereas I don't know the intricacies of how, and you've seen it go from the development of camera work where it was a photo and it was a film.
Yeah.
But equally, the more modern it gets, the more challenging it can get, because you have to then use every modern tool at your disposal.